Currently 2:05 p.m. With regard to just getting same time of day and same literally day in the year. If first of all, I'd want to go over what is the maintenance of the fake sun you saw outside of this front door at 9:53 in the morning. So let's look at that. With regard to what I documented on this day in 2024, where the sun was over me at Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles, which is not sharing the sky space or over the apartment building of Woodside Senior Apartments. And the sun is not an object that's ubiquitous like the sky, meaning it's over all of us all day long, everywhere, whether you're stationary or in motion. That's not the sun. The sun is in constant movement. And I'm showing you what is stationary, contrary to what nature dictates. So this is the sun over me in Woodside, over the same apartment building, units 33 through 64. As I documented, this is not sunlight, but this is the evidence of stalking via light inside of the apartment, which is impossible with the sun being over Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles. By the way, on the same day in 2024, time of year analysis, time of day as well at 9:53. And I'm documenting hours later. This is where it remains. This is the condition, the environment inside of the apartment. That's also not sunlight. And sunlight is not just appearing like you see above the front door like that on the ceiling. And this is not sunlight that drapes the and surrounds and covers the front door, the entrance. That's the pattern of stalking with light. And the sun is over the same apartment building, units 33 through 64. It's right over the top of my head. As I open the front door, you can see the same exact apartment building. Units 46, 45, 41, 42, they're all gang stalking me, while the stationary fake sun is remaining over one building. And that is, again, while I'm showing you a stalker that's engaged in surveillance. And at the same time as I'm capturing this environment which defies nature, I turn around and the demon is gang stalking, crossing path inside, walking in engineered light, monitoring the use of my device, monitoring inside of their own home. Doing so with impunity. This is not sunlight. It doesn't coexist with the sun being over Alvarado, but you're looking at it reflecting off of the same windshield, and it's over this. For it to be reflecting off of the windshield, it's in a position to be above the vehicle to reflect off of it, okay? This is common sense. You saw the entity doing this with the fake sun yesterday afternoon at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when it's over the same location, okay? What you see reflecting off of objects and reflecting on off of like windows and reflecting images or surfaces rather, it's not necessarily requiring it to be, it's an act of the demonic, in other words, because you're looking at the same exact position where the sun would be in a position to reflect off of the vehicle that will be parked in the same parking spot. And this is hours later at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when you're looking at what is 12:35 in the afternoon, and a demon that's gang stalking me is doing so under the fake sun that's remaining over one apartment building. And I'm showing you just a way to identify stalking with light and stalking under a fake sun, where the entity engages in stalking with light and stalking with that fake sun by having it appear on surfaces, on windows, and it's not the sun. That's how I have, by the way, the fake sun that is seen through this window at 4 o'clock in the evening. Okay, meaning it's over this window right now. I'm going to show you that. It's over this window at 9 o'clock in the morning. When it's outside of this front door, it's reflecting. It's still in a position to reflect off of the window, and it's still in a position reflecting off the window. I'm capturing the light source itself through this same window in a 600 square foot apartment. What is over a 9-hour span of time. And I have a whole body of evidence, including what I documented today, speaking to that which defies nature. And before I also show that, I want you to see what is stalking with light inside of this apartment, which is evidence of surveillance. Surveillance is underway by the government that's acting through and in concert with the population that's engaged in criminal activity where they live. It's not a private residence, and you're not prosecuted, engaging in anything constitutionally protected. You are being prosecuted with the state that is engaging through you criminal surveillance and terrorism, a sex offense, and doing so with impunity. And this is the engineered light that you'll see mutating on the ceiling at 1:35 p.m. All right, you're looking at it's a radiant orange, and I just continuously capture documentation of the engineered light. It's luminescing underneath a patio structure. On the patio, on the floor inside of the living room. You're paying attention to the light that just continuously mutates and moves around inside. It's not sunlight. It's appearing above. It's piercing into the building. First of all, this is what you would have to assume that light is doing, but light is not doing that. Light doesn't travel like air, by the way. So it's reaching and doing gymnastics from the sun above us, reaching underneath the patio structure outside. And then it's coming through the top of the blinds, through the patio glass door, into the apartment to appear on the ceiling. That's not sunlight. It is as demonic as you saw engineer light dynamic on the kitchen cabinets and then fanning away on video. That's as demonic as this is as I capture images, and you're looking at the migration of that light. Now you can see the shadow of this lamp right here above on the wall. That's impossible light activity, and it's very demonic. All right, that's speaking to terrorism, while the engineer light is moving in a very, very slow manner, okay, while I'm documenting it. And the entity that is gang stalking me and is stalking with engineer light is doing so with impunity as I document terrorism via directed light inside of a private space where the government is stalking through the population under what is an idle light source that remains present and disappears in real time, okay? This is the entity that maintains the same fake sun. This is where it's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. I'm gonna go ahead and take a picture of that because this is where it's at. It's currently 2:11 p.m. This is where you're looking at the fake sun is in a position to be where the gang stalker wearing the FedEx vest for it to be reflecting off of a vehicle here, like you saw in this image, where the entity is gang stalking me with the person inside of the apartment, surrounding me inside of the apartment, moving as I move and as I operate my device. Where the fake sun is right now, this is where it would be in a substantially similar position to reflect off of a vehicle in the parking lot, okay? At this time though, it's positioned right over me in its zenith at the front door. The position of the sun is not one that would reflect off of that windshield, okay? However, I'm telling you and I'm showing you these details to understand the demonic. This is the demonic. And also hours from now at 3 p.m., the fake sun would be in a position to create the same reflection off of a windshield. When you're looking at it, it would be directly above the same building where it is right now and where it remains after this this present time as well. This is the entity that is monitoring evidence. This is an entity that is impossible. This is a demon that's crossing path. Impossible light activity. 9CZC059 is going to federal prison. That's the same sex offender gang stalking. Is sitting in their vehicle and impossible light activity flashes on me while they drive off, while they're stalking under a fake sun. And they're the same predators that are doing so with the Ontario Police Department. So they're doing so while impossible light activity is appearing on the floor. Okay, that's not sunlight. It's appearing on the suitcase, and the demon is inside of their bedroom gang stalking. That's a sex offender and a hitman that's waiting for an opportunity to murder their relative that is being gang stalked with the state, with the demons, the neighbors, with the police department, okay? And as I've shown from city to city and county to county, it is a statewide effort. The demon that you just saw on that license plate that I just recited, he or she is going to federal prison, and the evidence of this impossible light activity that creates my shadow on the light at a distance. This is all impossible, and it's very demonic, and it is mutually exclusive with regard to my documentation of the sun being over me in Los Angeles, which is exactly what I documented, however. All right, not only that, the entity is engaging in a pattern, parking your vehicle, being in your vehicle, living at a residence where a sun is idle over the same building, where I'm showing you what is the position of your vehicle where it's parked, and that's the same fake sun. The position that it's in right now, I want to be clear, it was over this same apartment building just feet away here at 9:53 in the morning. That's not the sun. And it's also not over Alvarado Gardens. You are looking at it over this apartment building, and that's where it's at. Just like you see it's here, and it's not over there. And it's not looking like it's inside of all their vehicles where they're driving north and south on Vine Avenue. This sun that's sitting here is not remaining over everyone, everywhere that they're going. This is sitting here right here because this is where I'm remaining, and that's what I also document in Los Angeles, where I'm documenting the same thing I'm showing you here. That was a demon in Unit 41 stalking in her vehicle. This is a demon stalking in the path, keeping their back to me, and they're stalking me with the demon inside of her apartment in her bedroom right now. All right, and this is the entity that is gang stalking at Woodside Senior Apartments. This is, in other words, the city of Ontario that's going to be prosecuted, okay, for domestic terrorism. And that's the supernatural while I'm capturing the fake sun over my head as I documented on video at 12:37 p.m. when I'm standing at my leasing office, and the entity has the fake sun over my head, and it is in its zenith over the top of my head at 12:37 p.m. on this day in 2024. At 12:37 p.m. The entity has kept the fake sun over the same building. So let's look at that again, because that's exactly where it was. It's over the same building. This is negligible movement with regard to that which is not the sun and that which is never in Florida. It's never reaching Florida. This is the same building. This is the same apartment building. And this was hours earlier. This is 12:35 p.m. and before that it was at 9:53 p.m. And while the demon in the black BMW drives off, impossible light activity, speaking to the fact that they are stalking me. They know what I'm doing as I do it. They're also sex offenders that also know what's going on with my genitalia, which I also did not consent to, while they're stalking everything that I do, everywhere that I go as a population, and stalking me by residents at Woodside Senior Apartments, which is also a corrupt property management company that is gang stalking with its employees. They're all going to prison. All right, and now on this time at 2:04 p.m., which is why I started this video, return to my office after going to my apartment. So you can see the light source. It's in position as I'm standing outside of building 1806. This is impossible light up here. All right, this is, again, as I'm moving my hand, you're looking at what is impossible light that's on the table. So I just want to break this down for you. If this is the sun that's remaining over me, same time of day, same time of year, literally the same day a year ago. The natural environment dictates that I would be able to see the sun over my head in Ontario, far from my leasing office, inside of the depths of my office, and never is sunlight creating your shadow like I'm showing you upright on the wall inside of my office. The angle that sunlight is appearing to appear in my office on that table is also impossible light activity. Now, when I say these things and you're not very clear about what that actually means, you are aware of the fact that the sun, because I'm documenting it, you're looking at it at the bottom of the screen. The sun that's over Woodside Senior Apartments, apartment number 41, is not in any position on the same day at the same time to aim any or create any sunlight over anyone else, by the way, in Los Angeles, let alone over me in my office, on the table, or anywhere contrary to what I documented on this day, even at the same time in Los Angeles, California. And the opposite is also true. While the sun is over me as I document in Los Angeles, this demon that's driving the black BMW is in no position to have some sort of sunlight reflect at such a great distance away from me while she's in the parking lot, he or she's in the parking lot operating that vehicle, and it's flashing me. That is a sex offender that's molesting me, speaking to their obsession and the fact that they're stalking me while that impossible light occurs, while they move their vehicle. And that demon is hostile because I'm proving the fact that they are stalking me while they're sitting in their car monitoring me. That's what they're doing. You're not just sitting in there with the cooler on, just waiting for your car to warm up. And then, no, that demon is surrounding in the path under the fake sun, monitoring everything I'm doing with the psychopath that is in her bed, gang stalking her relative, for which she's going to a mental asylum for the rest of her life. This is impossible light activity. The evidence of stalking me with light is terrorism on the job. The entity is going to be prosecuted for federal group stalking and monitoring in the workplace. This is domestic terrorism that I was subject to in the workplace. This is an unprecedented basis of prosecution of an American government, and that which has never been proven. And not only is it proven that the government is monitoring American citizens, it's terrorism, and it's also that which I was subject to while just trying to go to work and make money. And this is the same entity that is inside of the corrupt courts, who are also gang stalkers, criminally defaming on paper so that they can steal my any property, whatever belongs to me, that the entity wants to assume and claim that I'm incapacitated, while they are targeting me in order to establish and manufacture that condition about me. And they do it secretly outside of my presence, unbeknownst to me, because they know if I knew about it, I would clearly articulate and speak to all the laws that they're violating while they do that, clearly disregarding someone who is legally trained like myself, and I can fully communicate on my own behalf. That's why the entity necessarily did it behind my back. They did it with the gang stalkers, who are the state of California, Tracy Banks, somebody that is a high school graduate trying to assume legal authority over me. I'm a licensed attorney. Okay, this is idiocy. This is ridiculous, and this is requiring and advocating and supporting the laws that must change in California, because it literally makes no sense. And the entity is diagnosing and criminally defaming and kidnapping anybody that it chooses to do that to. Okay, this is what's relevant with regard to stalking by light inside of my office at 2:04 p.m. in Los Angeles. You see these lines of light. This is all impossible light activity. This is absolutely demonic also. But it is speaking to the maintenance of the specific environment, which is always the case, and the light source which remains here, just like So I want you to see here, the entity has the fake sun present, and with real time, this fake sun is literally ducking behind the building. Okay, so there's no other way for me to put that, because this is speaking to the demonic environment. And so because I have facts showing that the two are not happening at the same time, the sun that's over Woodside is not creating any sunlight inside of my office at Alvarado Gardens, and the sun that is above the building would not even be in a position to aim light like gymnastics, flipping and bending underneath into the office upright, creating my shadow, my hand on the wall, and also even creating any sunlight on that table. And it's also why you don't see the sun hiding behind the building, because I started capturing video. This is very real regarding the demonic activity. Very, very real. And the fact that you don't see the light source is evidence of the fact that I am being stalked by light. Being stalked and being kept under surveillance with regard to engineered light, which you have to necessarily prove with evidence, because the entity is a demon-possessed one seeking to criminally defame you. And the fact that I have to go to that length is why people are going to mental asylums and federal prison. But that's okay, because it's going to help other people. But they're going to prison and they're going to mental asylums, and it includes everybody in units 33 through 64, all of the AVANATH employees gang stalking by employment at the venue, and doing so in concert with the government and the hitman that's inside of this apartment, acting with impunity. The impunity is legally analyzed by the engineered light, by the fake sun, by the molestation via engineered light, all the light circus, light conduct inside of this apartment. It's impunity. The amplified audible activity, it's impunity. You want to go to federal prison for gang stalking me? You never want to get out of federal prison for continuously gang stalking me, and that's how that federal law is going to operate. And justice requires that. Okay, so the fact that you see the absence, the fake sun is there, it's behind the clouds. This is demonic though in real time. But that is speaking to knowledge. That's a real personality behind the environment that I am being pursued by. Okay, and it's not someone's imagination. It is high level of malice, while demons are then putting on robes and sitting in courts and calling themselves attorneys and representing the people of the state who are seeking to steal, seeking to kill someone, and seeking to defame them in doing so. The demons who are targeting you in that demonic environment. Okay, so that's what's relevant with regard to
captured at 12:37 p.m. Under no circumstances would this ever happen in the natural environment, let alone if that was the sun as I captured it in its zenith over my head at 408 West G Street, apartment number 51. All right, and in addition, sunlight does not create this impossible light activity that you see appearing and disappearing. What I'm documenting, what I'm capturing, is the prosecution of an entity that's going to be revealed as engaging in what's the methods of terrorism. And this is...
Okay, pay attention to how that engineered light disappeared. Seconds later, this is the same video, so just so that you can see that. This is the malice. This is that which is psychological torture. It's intended to drive the normal person, and by normal I mean the ordinary targeted individual who is not equipped to handle this level of targeting, not equipped to articulate clearly what is going on so that someone else can understand and perhaps help them with enforcing their rights like the federal government is going to do. This is something that causes somebody to question their own sanity, causes them to hate their own existence, and essentially helps the entity do away with them. It's called psychological torture. The light disappears.
You're looking at what is impossible light that's on the table, and you can see these lines of light. This is all impossible light activity. This is absolutely demonic also. But it is speaking to the maintenance of the specific environment, which is always the case, and the light source which remains here, just like I captured at 12:37 p.m. Under no circumstances would this ever happen in the natural environment, let alone if that was the sun as I captured it in its zenith over my head at 408 West G Street, apartment number 51. All right, and in addition, sunlight does not create this impossible light activity that you see appearing and disappearing. What I'm documenting, what I'm capturing, is the prosecution of an entity that's going to be revealed as engaging in what's the methods of terrorism. And this is the prima facie case of federal stalking and monitoring, and the entity is going to be civilly and criminally prosecuted for these very methods of terrorism. This is the conduct that a targeted individual is subject to, and they can't even explain it. All right, and it terrifies them, it scares them to death. All right, and this is what you're going to prosecute the entity for while they...
All right, so that's the P.O.C. that's underway while a third-party speaker companies like the third-party AVANATH Capital Management is gang stalking me in concert with the same entity. Again, those whose name I know are part of the same entity with those whose name I don't know. It's a government effort. The entity itself is targeting together. And just to remind you, the impossible light activity that I'm documenting here is heavily captured inside of this apartment, and I will give you an example, like you've already seen, of impossible light activity. One second. All right, the entity that is gang stalking, while the entity, you're looking at the structure of the Woodside Senior Apartments complex, and the fake sun that's remaining specifically over this building that is circled is not over my office. It's not over Alvarado Gardens at the same time. So what I'm capturing is evidence of what is supernatural on its face. In addition to that, the evidence of stalking via light, like what's happening inside of the apartment, is also evidence of that.
Here is more evidence that's serving to prosecute.
This is documented days ago on February 28th at 1:33 in the afternoon, where the fake sun sits idle over me from morning until afternoon. And by the way, the video or the images that I captured today at 9:53, and I'm going to show you the fake sun in this video at 1:33, is speaking to stationary presence of the sun that also would never at the same time be over Alvarado Gardens at any point in the day. And I have a wealth of documentation from February 28th to the present, before February, after March 4th, 2024, speaking to what is ongoing evidence of stalking with light. Stalking with light is coexisting with an entity that is stalking in the path, doing so not just as a group, for example, a group of Satanists. Those Satanists are acting with the government. It's a public entity that is keeping you under surveillance with that population who are masquerading as free citizens, free to live what they want, where they want, free to shop where they want, travel where they want, when they want to, and be wherever they want, including on the private property of another, public property like the sidewalk. And that's all the malice with regard to what our facility and venue board fake sun sits all day long. That's the government, that's the police department, that's the law enforcement itself that has no warrant or probable cause to follow you around, which is evidenced through that impossible maintenance of that environment. And it's also shown through the engineer lighting
the people of the state, third-party AVANATH Capital Management. So this is engineer light that's appearing at a tremendous distance from the covered patio. Okay, and the fake sun is outside above the same apartment building where I'm located. And so as you can, well, you can't see, here's my hand. The light is shooting across horizontally, and it's creating shadow inside of my shadow is appearing inside, and it's a magnified size of my hand. This is speaking to criminal surveillance that's happening.
At 2:27 p.m., amplification of the demon in unit number 55 is monitoring this evidence, which belongs to the feds that are going to prosecute her and the rest of the entity. And the demon inside of this apartment is monitoring with that demon that's amplifying, stomping above me under the fake sun that's stationary over the same apartment complex, and to be compared with the impossible maintenance of the sun over me in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens. That's speaking to impunity and malice. And this hitman that's inside of this apartment, who is going to a mental asylum for soliciting my murder by gang stalking me with the state of California.
At what is not a private residential area or property, it's a facility and venue for surveillance. And this is also documentation of what is malice and impunity by a corrupt company, including RGS, that comes onto the ground gang stalking with the company, the employees, the residents, and the city of Ontario, the population itself that's coming onto the grounds gang stalking as one entity. And the fact that I'm capturing ongoing iterations of impossible light activity, the more that I document, yeah, that's P.O.C. I've documented this before. This is the conduct of the demon possessed. Okay? That's the conduct of the demon.
All right, that's terrorism, that's psychological torture. And it is shared with what is criminal presence in your path. And it is also that which is serving criminal monitoring on communication devices and on the venue of the internet. And it is all in violation of my constitutional right to not be targeted, to not be kept under surveillance, and literally stalked by the police departments, by the state itself, who is doing so at what is Woodside Senior Apartments, not a private residence at all. And the demon in the parking lot in the black BMW that you saw driving out of the parking lot was monitoring me in doing so. And that's what RGS, a third-party company, is doing and helping the government do and helping Woodside Senior Apartments accomplish, while a bunch of gang stalkers are living at the venue committed to that 24-hour surveillance system in furtherance of murdering an American citizen. And they're aware of that. They act pursuant to that criminal objective, and it's not the first time that they've engaged in this as a state. All right. I want to be clear. This is, let me show you, because I captured the fake sun in this video, so let me let you see.
This is going on the internet. That's speaking to stalkers, including RGS. It has nothing to do, like I stated, has nothing to do with the fake sun. Okay? The fake sun is indeed over the property. These are distinct methods of recognizing criminal surveillance, and it's terrorism. And this is a sex offense. We target that supernatural ongoing occurrence. Okay? This is called the people that are stalking. That's RGS, Federal Stalking Title 18. This is called stalking in the path. And they're not ignorant about the impossible light activity, the supernatural environment. This is the engineer light that you just saw inside, and dynamic engineer light. Linda Reyes is going to prison. That's what this evidence is also showing you. She's going to prison. And these are the people that are stalking.
All right, that's the evidence of what is, again, all manner of documentation showing the stationary presence of the light source that's remaining over me as I documented on this day in 2024. I am maintaining documentation. As you are able to see, I walk to my apartment and the fake sun moves as I move toward my apartment, which is building 1806. So this is building 1808 right here. My leasing office is on the opposite side over there. So the fake sun went from being over my office to moving as I move, just like the entity does with the fake sun as I go from the apartment right here, unit 51, to walking toward the parking lot, and the fake sun remains over me as I go there. And as I walk back, I've shown video after video where the fake sun travels remaining over the roof to go right back to where I am, remaining over me, and it maintains an ongoing idle presence while hour after hour it inches toward the opposite end of the same building, which is where it's setting over me, stalking with light, with a population that is stalking together in concert with a corrupt entity. This is how you have, again, at 2:04 p.m. This is not the sun that is remaining as I'm documenting it over me, over building apartment number 41, units 33 through 48. The two are not happening at the same time. This is the evidence of stalking with light, okay? This is while an entity is engaging in terrorism inside of the apartment, doing so with impunity, while the demons of the Ontario Police Department are monitoring me and monitoring my devices, and they also know that I'm documenting, and as I document, they engage in the terrorism using helicopters to gang stalk me, in furtherance of murdering me, and also seeking to psychologically harm me. That's relevant to the ways in which the police department that is gang stalking documented, and that are going to federal prison, how long they're going to federal prison. They're going for a very long time. This is not a small thing, what the entity is doing, and exposing this malicious system of an unabated program of psychological torture amongst a population that is stalking one person. That population is not ignorant about who that person is while they are stalking under a fake sun. The two are not happening over this at the same time. What is over building 1806, building 1808 is not over Woodside Senior Apartments, is not over what is this apartment building that I am remaining inside of. It's not over this building, and the two are not happening, and that's requiring more than one sun. And there you are witnessing and being made aware of by facts to prove it, that this is a supernatural occurrence. This is highly malicious. These are not just, in other words, normal people. They're not just criminals who are lying, who are trying to commit a crime against me, an egregious one, and take my life also. They're also demons, and this is demonic at its core. Okay, so this is the P.O.C, and this is what I documented as I walked. Indeed, you can see the time. I'm walking to my apartment, and the fake sun is remaining over me as I walk to my apartment. And this is what I'm documenting as I walk into my office, and I'm showing you it's the fake sun that remains over me while I walk that way. So you see it here, and as I record this video, an impossible light is inside of my office, and then you're seeing the fake sun that is literally hiding in real time, because this is demonic. And the environment, which is demonic, there's a personality behind it, which is hostile to exposing it. That's speaking to the demons who are hostile, stalking me with amplified noise, stalking me in helicopters, stalking with commercial planes, stalking with amplified booms and all that, while elderly people are physically surrounding. These are demons that are hostile to being exposed. And it is how the demon possessed, that is Satan, using people, are gang stalking and psychologically torturing together, because I'm exposing them, and I'm exposing how it operates in the environment and how the demon possessed behave to monitor me.
Okay. 2:04 p.m. upon return to my office after going to my apartment. So you can see the light source. It's in position as I'm standing outside of building 1806. This is impossible light up here. All right. This is, again, as I'm moving my hand, you're looking at what is impossible light that's on the table. And you can see these lines of light. This is all impossible light activity. This is absolutely demonic also. But it is speaking to the maintenance of the specific environment, which is always the case, and the light source which remains here, just like I captured at 12:37 p.m. Under no circumstances would this ever happen in a natural environment, let alone if that was the sun as I captured it in its zenith over my head at 408 West G Street, apartment number 51. All right, and in addition, sunlight does not create this impossible light activity that you see appearing and disappearing. What I'm documenting, what I'm capturing, is the prosecution of an entity that's going to be revealed as engaging in what's the methods of terrorism. And this is the prima facie case of federal stalking and monitoring, and the entity is going to be civilly and criminally prosecuted for these very methods of terrorism. This is the conduct that a targeted individual is subject to, and they can't even explain it.
So I just want to make sure that that's clear regarding what the entity is engaging in, the malice with which the entity engages in that. And this is the license plate of the third party engaging in surveillance by stalking in the path, just like the gang stalker that is standing outside of the apartment at 12:35 p.m. wearing the FedEx vest, and under that same idle fake sun is then walking away as I'm documenting. They're still monitoring. They're not ceasing to engage in gang stalking. Your movement under the fake sun, any and everything that you're doing in operation, while I'm in operation, my communication devices, they are monitoring while they do so, and they're not abandoning position. The demons are always maintaining presence. You have just another body moving around. They're monitoring together on a ceaseless basis. 9CZC059 is the sex offender that's in operation of the vehicle outside while I'm capturing this video, and my body is accosted with impossible light activity while I'm capturing the supernatural of the fake sun over this apartment building. And this is the entity that is gang stalking while in custody of minor children. All right, these are the predators that target me with the Ontario Police Department and engage in a pattern of retaliation with that police department that's going to be disbanded, engaged in the sex offensive federal group stalking, monitoring, and criminal acts of retaliation, intimidation, while they keep my devices under surveillance and engage in what is inflicting more harm against me and targeting and harassing and terrorizing me and furtherance of murdering and kidnapping me because I'm blowing the whistle, because I'm enforcing my rights, because I'm exposing them to the feds and to the public. You go to prison for even longer, and she is going to federal prison, by the way. But these are the children that are going to be removed from custody of the people of the state. She's making them gang stalkers. They're monitoring me. You're making them gang stalkers. This is abuse, okay? And this is recognizing how the people of the state are engaging in the pattern of conduct with children, which is abuse when the federal government is aware of it, understanding what they're engaging in as they do it very maliciously, and you will lose your children just like the demons in Unit 41 shall be losing their children. And they have been aware of this, and they continuously engage in it, which is speaking to the fact that these children are indeed in danger because these demons continuously do it. All right, that is speaking to mental illness. Again, it is currently, by the way, 2:37 p.m. The entity keeps the fake sun over me, which you can see. This is all engineered light. The engineered light that was appearing before in a different color, appearing and disappearing. The shadow of this lamp appearing vertically across the ceiling, entirely demonic. This is, again, while the sun is over Alvarado Gardens, there's no sunlight. Even while the sun would be, if it were in a position, this isn't the natural environment, but it's not going to appear underneath a patio structure, bending underneath, and then appearing. Remember, this is a building that I'm inside of. It's underneath the structure, and then it's coming into the apartment building to appear on the floor, and then also above my head as well. None of this is sunlight. This is surveillance by a bunch of stalkers, and the stalkers that are living in Unit 41 engage in surveillance, and they also like to monitor my genitalia between my legs. That's what you also need to know in taking those children away from them. It is currently 2:37 p.m. where the fake sun remains over the same exact apartment building, and it's on this same day in 2024 remaining over me at Alvarado Gardens like I documented. And I'm also documenting exposing surveillance by a relative who is a hitman intending to take my life. That's why she's gang stalking me, and this is an ongoing criminal effort of all my relatives, and doing so with impunity and malice. And that's speaking to all the ways in which I'm showing what is stalking by light, which is also psychologically harmful, while the entity is, this is an utter fail, but I'm exposing the malice because it's not adequate to just get any and all property that the entity has sought to steal from me by targeting me and then trying to falsely depict me in secret behind my back in what are unlawful hearings and corrupt courts who are gang stalking, and doing so while they are aware of the fact that it's also something that would require a licensed attorney, somebody that knows the law like myself, to document and prosecute. This is P.O.C. under the fake sun. Mental illness exposed. It is currently 2:38 p.m. and those are the psychopaths that are going into mental wards and gang stalking in plain view. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, when you're seeing this, 2:39 p.m.